Welcome to OLC 40. It is term 1A, and this is class 32. It is the second last class. Today we're going to be working on assignment 42, part C, as well as assignment 43 and the portfolio. Today is Wednesday, October 30th, 2024, and I am Jillian Percy. All right, as always, here's our contact information. If you want to call the studio and talk to me while I'm here, 1-800-465-7144. If you want to talk to me while I'm off the air, call the office at 1-800-667-3703, and the extension is 2211. If you wish to reach me by email, jillian.percy@nnec.on.ca. When you are handing in assignments, please don't send it to my email. Send it to studentwork@nnec.on.ca. The secretary can log it in, and any other teacher has access to it that might need it. The full name, your full name, the course name, the assignment number should be on every assignment, not just the email, but on the physical assignment. Also, if it's a rough or a good draft, please label it so I am aware and can mark it appropriately. There's often a different marking scheme for those, so it's really important that I know what they are. Okay, Facebook page. I only check this about once a day, guys, so I got to be honest with you. Email is absolutely the way to go for me, but I do try to check it. So if you're looking for it, capital G, capital P, E-R-C-Y, space, capital W, A-H-S-A. If you want to see previous classes, I have a YouTube channel that's the same address as my Facebook, capital G, capital P, E-R-C-Y, space, capital W, A-H-S-A. If you go down to the tabs and click playlists, the very first playlist that comes up is the course that we're doing right now, OLC 40 Term 1A. And that should have all the courses, classes more or less up till today. If you're also wanting to, there's a kind of a mega WASA YouTube channel that's being developed right now. This has all the courses that have been taught since September. So if you're taking courses with us right now, this can be very, very useful. The one thing about my YouTube channel is I do still have courses there from last year, and a lot of those haven't changed a whole lot. There may be some changes. So if you're taking a course that isn't being taught yet, that is one place to check for it if it's a course that I teach. Obviously, I'm teaching English, not everything. So that's one place to look. Okay, learning goals. Okay, ooh, that isn't quite, well, this is learning goals for one part of it. It's not learning goals for all of it, sorry. There are a bunch of portfolio learning goals, but we used parentheses, idioms, we did that already. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of move on from that today. That's okay. Okay. Yeah, this has changed from last year. It's good now. It's about writing an information paragraph, and it's 15 marks. Use the research you gathered in part B, remember about your career, to write an information paragraph to summarize all the research you found. Remember to include a proper opening and closing sentence in your paragraph. It should include all the information above, but it needs to be written in good, complete sentences. Remember to use style techniques like transition words and phrases and parallelism to make the paragraph read smoothly. One new addition to this paragraph is going to be naming your sources of information. This is a big part of academic writing, and it's often called citing your sources. So for this paragraph, you must have two different sources that you can use as the sources for where you got your career facts. So it could be 2 books, 2 internet websites, 1 book and 1 internet website. Now, you can use more, that's fine. I'm just saying minimum should be 2. And one of the reasons for that is if you check out your information from only 1 book or only 1 website, first of all, if they've got information wrong, you're not going to have any idea. So the moment you're using more than 1 source, you've got a better chance of the information being reliable. The other thing is, if you're getting your information from different sources, you're less likely to accidentally plagiarize, right? When you're trying to combine information from several different sources, you just kind of automatically start to put things in your own words in a different way than if you're only looking at 1 source. So it's kind of helpful in more than 1 way. Okay, what is citing a work? Citing a work is simply making sure that you give credit to who wrote the information you found. It's showing that you didn't make it up, right? There's a reliable source for it, but also that what you are writing is derived or connected to someone else's work. It's basically a type of honesty. and neglecting it or just doing it poorly can sometimes be treated as plagiarism, even if it was done accidentally. Okay, remember that plagiarism is treated pretty seriously here at WASA, and it can result in you having to do the assignment over. If it's a repeated offense, it could be treated more seriously. And generally, if I have concerns about that, I report it to the principal. So you do want to be cautious with this one, right? So there are a lot of different ways to cite works, okay? Basically different fields like education, law, science, they all have different ways that they like people to cite the works, okay? I'm gonna use the format that's typical in English, which is called MLA style, which stands for the Modern Language Association style. Other departments have different styles. APA is a common one. Chicago style is pretty common. So whenever you go to college, always ask your professor which style he or she wants you to use, because if you're taking a bunch of different courses, you might find they each have a different style. The differences between them are often very, very small, but they can be super important to individual teachers, and you want to make sure. We're just kind of practicing it, but just so you know, it can be important. So the word cite, by the way, it just means like a quote or to name. There are two main ways you can cite a source. First of all, you can directly use the source name, like the title of the website or the title of the book, to introduce the fact and just include the page number in brackets at the end of the sentence. If it's a book, the title is put in italics, like slanted, when you type. But if you handwrite your assignments, you would underline it because it's fairly hard to write in italics. So the typed example would look like this. The career handbook says that jobs in information technology continue to grow and are a great career choice, period. And then we've got our little comma, which says 35. The handwritten example says the career handbook, which is underlined, says that jobs in information technology continue to grow and are a great career choice. So same kind of thing, right? I'm doing it both ways because I know some people are typing, but also I do have people who are handwriting everything. All right, the second way is you can just tell me the fact, and then you put the source, like the title of the source and the page number at the end of the sentence, also in parentheses. I'm sorry, I said the word brackets, but after yesterday, I should say parentheses. So here's a typed example. Jobs in information technology continue to grow and are a good choice for the future. And then I've got in parentheses, the career handbook, comma, 35. Same thing, and that's how it looks in the handwritten example. So up here, I've used italics, which means it's kind of slanted. I don't know if you can see it. If I unslant it quickly, you can see it, right? Hopefully. Yeah, okay. Now here, it's pretty hard to do that with your own handwriting. It's easier just to put a little underline there, just to show the person that it is the title of a book or a website, okay? Now, if you're trying to cite a source from a web page, there is a few little extra things you need to think about. The location of the online work should include what they call an URL. You don't need to use the HTTP ://. You can name the source in your sentence and put the URL at the end in brackets. I could say like the University of Windsor website discusses how to review and reply to an offer of admission. And that'd be the end of my sentence. And then in parentheses, I would write the URL. And then I would also tell when I accessed it. Accessed June 6th, 2024. And the reason for that is because sometimes things change. So you may be seeing somebody quoting something, and then when you go to check it, it's not there. Well, okay, if they accessed it a few years ago, things change all the time. That makes sense. You could also maybe use the Internet Wayback Machine to find something if it was really important. You can also just write the sentence with the information and put the entire source at the end in brackets, again, followed by the day that you accessed it. Students can be taken for a campus tour around the University of Windsor by student ambassadors, but guests must register ahead of time. And then parentheses, URL, accessed June 6, 2024. Okay, makes sense, hopefully. So brainstorming the paragraph. So yesterday we did a bunch of research, and then we looked through the research and found the really important points to fill in that graphic organizer, right? What did you find out about the actual job? What were the typical wages, the job duties, typical or preferred personality traits? And then what is the current outlook on job prospects? Remember, outlook is like Are there a lot of jobs currently? And is this a field that's growing, like there'll be more jobs, or is it a field that's, say, shrinking, right? And what did you find out about training or getting education for the job? How many years does it take? What would it cost? What would you learn? Where could you study? So all those kind of things should be in your paragraph. The information paragraph checklist, okay? After you've done like a rough copy, or even before, you do a quick check of this and make sure you've got all these things. If you don't have it, go back through and kind of revise it, okay? First of all, make sure that you've cited at least 2 different sources of information. You've got an opening sentence that states the main idea of the paragraph. You have at least 8 to 10 body sentences that explains all the information from the chart in part B. And then you've got a closing sentence that restates the main idea of the paragraph. All your sentences are complete. Remember, complete means you've got a subject, a predicate, and express a complete thought. And you haven't used any run-on sentences. If you've kind of squashed 2 or more sentences together without using a period, those are a run-on sentence. Also, I've restated information in my own words. I haven't just written things word for word from the source. I haven't just cut and paste. I have put it in my own words, okay? So starting off with creating your topic sentence. When you're trying to create a topic sentence that summarizes the main findings of your research, it can be a little tricky in a paragraph like this because there's a lot of small, tiny details, but it's really about a much bigger topic. And so the safest bet is to pick a nice general opening sentence that covers all the details. So here are some possible examples of what I mean. Becoming a firefighter requires great physical fitness, some training, and a spirit of adventure. Developing your skills and knowledge to become a nurse is hard work, but worthwhile if you love helping others. All right, after you've got your opening sentence, then you want to work on your 8 to 10 supporting details and sentences that illustrate that idea. You make sure you have to include information about how to train for it, include information about doing the work. Don't worry about keeping this paragraph too short. It's fine to do it long. It's way better to have more than you need and then go back and edit it than to have it too short and be trying to pad it later. That always sounds a bit awkward. Closing sentence. A few different ways that you can write the closing sentence. Remember that a closing sentence should be similar to the same idea as the opening sentence, but you want it to be restated and to sound a little different. And if you can, it can be great to kind of create a sense of wrapping up the conversation, right? So sometimes people can do things like they might summarize the steps that were taken, or they might create an overall point of view that they want to restate. You might relist the main points that you went into details about. Maybe you reach an overriding conclusion on the topic. I would try writing it a few different ways and then see which one is best. Okay, going back quickly. Let me think here. Generally, if you have done a bunch of citations inside a summary, you should have what's called a works cited section. And it just comes right at the end of your paragraph. And it just says works cited. And then you would list all the information so that you could find it again. So let's say here in your text, I was using the Rob Taylor article over and over again, but I'm only using that one piece. So I'm not going to keep on naming the item over and over again. I would only name it the first time. And then in works cited, I've got his name backwards, of course, last name first, Taylor Rob. Then I've got the article name, A Guide to Scholarships, Awards, and Applications. Now, it's an article on in the middle of a larger book. So I've got it in quotation marks. And then I've got the larger book here, Ontario Literacy Course, grade 12, Unit 4, Demonstrating Success in Reading and Writing. And then I have the year, okay? Yeah, that's good. You can also do it for a website, same thing, give me the article title, then give me the big website name, and then the date in day, month, year format. If you can, give me the URL and what date you accessed it. Sometimes the author isn't listed on websites, it's not always listed. So then you could skip it, but then you would just start with the article title, okay? The website name is italicized or slanted if you are typing to help emphasize it, underline it if you're handwriting it. And generally when you are writing, you would have included the writer's last name, okay? So here will be an example. Taylor Rumsey, the article named is Fitzcarraldo. It's in a magazine called Slant. The date is 13 June 2003. They've given you the URL and they told you that they accessed it on 29th of September 2009. And then there's a little period at the end. Okay, so that's an example of a works cited. Oh, they got backwards. That's what happened there. Okay. If you are wanting to see more on it, there's a A42 website that will kind of help you figure out citations. You can always go there if you need to. Yep, we did that already. Okay. Huh. I'm not sure why I've got multiple versions of this. I must have combined two things. My apologies. Okay. We're going to move on to assignment 43. Assignment 43 is something I've just been recently kind of introducing because I need to make sure that this course meets all the standards the government sets out, and because previously people were having trouble writing the major essay where you reflect on your literacy work. So I've designed this to kind of help overcome this problem, but it is kind of new. So here's what it says. For this section, you're going to gather up the assignments listed for each type of text format. Then you need to list the date you submitted the assignment. After that, review the assignments and decide which one is your best. You could be looking at your use of reading strategies to help you understand a text, or how you explained your ideas, your understanding of it, or a new text concept or format. In this assignment, I've included a checklist of each reading assignment organized by the type of text you read, informational, narrative, or graphic. And then you're going to have to put the date there of when you handed in the assignment, okay? And we're doing this in little sections because I want you to be able to reflect on these assignments in groups, but also to help you kind of start to put together your portfolio section by section. I think doing it all once has kind of been a problem for some people, okay? So, okay. Two main purposes. One, yes, to get your portfolio organized into smaller, more manageable chunks and get them dated. Dated is one of the government requirements. I don't feel like it's important, but they do. So I've got to put it in there, okay? Number two, our last assignment is that opinion essay, which is a series of paragraphs expressing your opinion about your own growth in reading and writing over the course by looking at the assignments. So in order to do this well, it helps to have the assignments organized into different groups. First, reading versus writing, and then we break it down even further. In reading, there's 3 categories: narrative, informational, and graphic. And in writing, there's 4 categories. Let me see. Summaries, informational, opinion. There's one more, news reports. And also we looked at journals as well, because it talks about journals as well. So here's what you would have. Yep. This is the one section. How to get started. Okay, I'm going to show you, I'll kind of show it to you real quick. Here it is. Here's listing all your reading assignments on informational. So you'd go through, you would find those assignments, and over here you would write the date that you wrote that or handed in, or even got it back if you had to. Then you would look through those 4 assignments and decide which one is your best, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, and then you would explain it. Okay, so first of all, you do gather up the assignments, make sure the name is on top, okay? Record the date you submitted it. Read over the assignments and look at them. What is good about them? What's weak? Which one do you think is the best one? Why? What's good about it? Then use the lined space underneath the list to write down your thoughts on which assignment from the list is your best one. Be sure to explain why you think it's your best one. Try to write at least 4 to 8 sentences in this area. And then you're going to repeat these steps for each one of the reading, inventory, and reflection sheets. Remember, there's 3 of them, okay? So, in order to choose why a reading assignment is your best, I want you to look beyond just marks, okay? Marks is certainly one aspect, but I'm looking for like what's changed about it. So maybe you've improved your understanding of features and the organization of a different reading format. Maybe you've improved your understanding of text content or improved your understanding of nonfiction text features. Maybe you improved your understanding of fictional literary elements, just plot, character, setting, conflict, theme. Possibly you more effectively explained your ideas and your opinions about the text. Like you're more clear, you've got more details, there's more depth to your ideas. Maybe you demonstrated better understanding of how the reading format related to the audience and purpose, more effectively understood and explained the main ideas in the sequence. Maybe you showed a more effective ability to state your opinion or interpretations with specific evidence from a text. Maybe you more effectively located information and details, or used better strategies to track and record ideas and information. Or maybe you improved your use and understanding of reading strategies, like we did monitoring your comprehension, making connections, making predictions, making inferences or interpretations, and then visualizing, okay? So all of that, we've got 3 different ones. We've got one is your information reading. The other one is the narrative text. That's what we kind of have the most of as far as reading assignments go. And then we had graphic texts, okay? So this is the marking sheet, okay? Basically, I will look at all 3 of those marking sheets, like those reflection sheets, and look at these different categories, okay? I'll be looking at your self-assessment skills. Did you state your opinion? Did you give several reasons to support your opinion? Did you give specific examples from your assignments? Did you explain how they support your ideas effectively? Does your writing show an understanding of audience purpose and the reflective writing format and how these influence the writing content, organization, tone, level of language? Does your writing reflect effective clarity, appropriate level of vocabulary, sentence writing fluency, variety, and writing style? And then finally, do you demonstrate an understanding and application of language conventions like spelling, punctuation, grammar, and usage? They aren't all worth the same. The self-assessment skills is worth 6 marks. Explaining your examples is 6 marks. Then the writing, showing that you understand the purpose, the audience, and the format is 2 marks. Your writing style is worth 4 marks, and then the conventions is worth 2 marks. So they aren't all worth the same amount. Okay. So if I were going to do this, I would take a little bit of time and brainstorm some of my ideas first, or make some notes first, and then I would try and put it together, right? Trying to get your ideas and write beautifully at the same time is actually quite hard. It's easier to do the ideas part first and then do the write beautifully part, okay? So first of all, which narrative reading assignment is my best? Remember, there's 3 different types. You're going to do this 3 different times, basically. My answer is assignment 19. I thought I did that one best. What are my reasons? I answered the questions easily in part A. I understood how to translate the character's personality into a Facebook ad or banner. I understood how to write in the voice of the character. So those are my 3 reasons. But for each reason, I need to give some examples or some details. So for reason number 1, I answered the questions easily. My details would be, I understood the events that happened in the story. And also, I felt that I understood why the characters acted the way they did and could support my ideas with examples from the text. Reason number 2, I understood how to translate the character's personality into a Facebook ad. My details would be, I could imagine what kind of pictures he might put on his banner. I could visualize the type of font. I felt I did a good job of showing my understanding of the character. And then for my final reason, I understood how to write in the voice of the character. I tried to make the sentences short and the vocabulary simple, which would reflect his character. I used internet slang and short forms because he's a teenager. And I used the type of emojis I thought he would use, okay? And then I started to work on this. I don't think I 100% finished this, but this is an example of, here is the part that I'm marking. This is for you, okay? This part is you getting your ideas. This part is what I'm marking. I enjoyed narrative texts in general, as that is my favorite format to read. I felt like my best assignment for this type of text was assignment number 19. I found it easy to answer the questions in part A. I understood and remembered the events in the chapter. I could explain why characters had acted the way they had, and I could support my ideas with answers from the text. I liked putting together the Facebook banner because I could totally picture what kind of style Gary would have. I felt like I did a good job describing the conflict between Jimmy and Ms. Quintal in a way that sounded like Gary's voice. I used lots of slangs and internet short forms like LOL. I even included some emojis. I felt like this assignment allowed me to show my understanding of the chapter and the character of Gary, but in a fun way. So that's an example of what I'm looking for each type of these reading styles, right? Information, narrative, graphic. Okay, moving on to writing. Writing has 4 different formats. We did informational writing, summaries, opinions, news reports. We also did self-reflective writing, but I've put that in its own little section, okay? Because it really is a whole different skill set. Okay, so just like the rest of them, I'm going to kind of quickly go into here. There's a little list of what type of assignment, sorry, it tells you the category, information writing. Each assignment that matches information writing is listed. Then they want you to look at those 4, decide which one is your best, and explain your reasons for what you think was best about them. So then right here, we're looking at the reason. These are the possible types of reasons. You might have some others, but this is the sort of thing I'm looking for because this is what I was trying to teach all course, all the term, okay? So first of all, an improved ability to identify and apply your understanding of the topic, the audience, the purpose, and the writing format, and how it affected and influenced your writing. An improved ability to use pre-writing or brainstorming strategies or tools to generate or organize your ideas and information. An improved ability at creating a strong rough draft in the appropriate writing format. Improved ability at revising a rough draft in various ways, such as adding details, improving the clarity, organizing the ideas and information, modifying the tone or the language level to make them more appropriate to the audience, the purpose, or the format. An improved ability and application of editing skills to produce polished copies that reflect a high level of accuracy and competence in the conventions. Remember, the conventions are grammar, usage, spelling, and punctuation. Improved ability to write in a specific writing format, such as, which is said twice for some reason, summaries, informational paragraphs, opinion pieces, fictional or non-fictional narrative writing, or other types of writing. An improved ability to create clear and correct sentences with a proper subject and verb that express a complete thought with an appropriate level of detail. Improved ability to write in a variety of sentence structures, simple, compound, and complex, to create good flow in a paragraph and connect your ideas or information more effectively. Improved level of vocabulary or specific word choices to express or describe your ideas more effectively, or an improved ability to use writing techniques such as transition phrases or vivid descriptions, more details, good examples or supporting evidence, tone or language level. Obviously, not all of these would apply. You're only picking 2 or 3, okay? But I wanted to give you some ideas. It's the exact same rubric. Oh, hang on. Yep, okay. This is all about writing. I'm looking that you have good self-assessment skills. You're able to state your opinion clearly. You state relevant reasons. Then down here that you're giving me examples that support your reasons. So these 2 kind of work together and they are the biggest marks for this reflection. That's 12 out of your 20 marks. The next biggest is down here and it's looking at your writing style. Is it clear? Have you used an appropriate level of vocabulary? Are you using good sentence writing fluency and variety? What is your writing style overlook? That's 4 marks. Then there's 2 marks that just kind of show that you understand the audience purpose, reflective writing format, and then 2 marks for conventions, okay? So the majority of the marks are coming from good reasons and good details that explain and support your reasons. So you want to put most of your effort into those things. So we've got informational writing that looked at A42, A37, A38, A42, B and C. Writing assignments on summaries, growing up in the community, informational paragraph, A35 dialogue and narrative writing. Question 3 is the summary, okay? Then A41, there's another summary, and then A42 part A, there is another summary, okay, or a couple of summaries in that part. And then we've got opinion pieces. The first one on the grandfather teachings, how to use an organizer, putting your ideas in a paragraph, the series of paragraphs, A26, and series of paragraphs that, it says 43. You're actually about to do that on A43. I'm sorry, I just noticed that. Okay. So this one actually, it used to be A43. We've just changed it just this week because there's been some problems. A44. Hang on. Sorry. One of the problems with doing things quickly is sometimes, here we go. So this is assignment 44, which we're going to cover tomorrow, okay? Some of these assignments were very short and others were quite long. It's up to you to pick which one you think showcases your best abilities. Sometimes the longer ones give you a lot more room to show how well you can write, but sometimes the shorter ones are a little bit easier to write, and so sometimes they kind of show your abilities better. You're going to have to make your best choice there. Again, I'm not second guessing you. I'm wanting to see that you know how to state an opinion and support your opinion with ideas, okay? We don't have to always agree on things. It's okay. And then news reports. We really only did 3 assignments on news reports. The first one on A12 was the rough draft, and then A13 was your final copy, and then A36, we wrote a news report on chapter 9. Technically, 12 and 13 are the same news report, but they're just at different stages. But because they are different assignments, the way we wrote them, it's totally fine to pick whichever one you think you did a better job on. That's fine. Now, here is, again, an example of how I might set up my planning in order to write about things, okay? Which summary writing is best? I did summary writing, and I said assignment 41. And here are my 3 reasons. I felt I used the paragraph structure effectively. I believe I wrote very well in the summary format. And then I worked my sentence variety. And then for each one of these, I give some details. So like these 2, they would all go together. Like I'd give my reason and then I would explain my details. Then I would give my next reason and then I would explain my details. Then I would give my last reason and then I would explain my details, okay? So for using the paragraph structure effectively, my details were, I created a good opening sentence that I thought was interesting and captured the main idea well. And then I wrote that my closing sentence echoed the ideas of the opening sentence, but in a totally new way. For I believe I wrote very well in the summary format, reason number 2, I wrote that I felt that I captured all the most important ideas. And I also felt that I paraphrased quotes and sentences well, so it's all in my own words. And then for my last reason, sentence variety, I explained what I did, which was I joined smaller sentences into compound sentences without creating run-on sentences. My gosh, that's a lot of sentences in the same sentence. And then I tried to use complex sentences to show how ideas were connected by time, place, sequence, or cause. And then I kind of put that all together. Now, this part here is my suggestion of one way to organize your ideas. You don't have to do it. I'm not marking this part. What I am doing is marking the next part, okay? And I'm gonna, I think we're gonna have time. I'm gonna kind of show you how we would put that all together, okay? So as always, I'm gonna have an opening sentence. My opening sentence is really gonna be about the very top. And it can be very simple, like my best summary writing piece is assignment 41. It could be super simple, right? My best summary writing assignment, sorry, is number 41. Now, you are welcome to get fancy and make a beautiful one, and you definitely will get more marks. I'm just doing kind of short and sweet here because we're short on time, but also because I just want to get the idea across that this isn't that hard, okay? Now I'm going to go right to reason number 1. I am going to use a transition here. For one thing, I felt that I used the paragraph structure effectively. Now I'm going to give an example. So for example, I created a good opening sentence that I thought was interesting and captured the main idea well. Okay, now I'm copying here right now just because it's a little bit easier when I'm trying to talk and teach at the same time, but it does not have to be exactly the same, because again, I've never seen your planning. You can make this as different as you like. I just am kind of showing you. In addition, I'm going to use these transition phrases, right? In addition, my closing sentence, oh, I don't want a capital there because it's in the middle there. My closing sentence echoed the ideas of the opening sentence, but in a totally new way. Now, all that is on reason number 1 and my details. So now I go on to reason number 2. My second reason, and I can be that straightforward, right? My second reason is that I feel I did a good job. Sorry, hang on. Good job of summarizing the article. I have here, I don't know why I've got the word capture over and over again, but it must have been in my mind as I was writing this. I only wrote about the most important ideas and left out minor details. I think I did a good job of paraphrasing the quotes and information so that it is all written in my own words. Okay. And then I would go on to reason number 3, right? I don't have to say my third reason. I could say something like one more reason, right? Or another reason. I can phrase it however I like. Then I would say, I worked on my sentence variety, and then I would go into my details. Okay. So you see how this kind of organizer for doing your brainstorming can be a really easy way to help you create these reflections. Okay. The last type of organizer that we're doing is we're talking about our journal assignments. So the journal assignments are where we wrote or reflected on either ourselves or the new topic we had just learned about. So we had journal topics about yourself, about reading, about what you like to read, about learning, writing formats, visuals, text topics, literacy skills in the workplace. And you would look at all of those and figure out which journal entry do you feel like is your best journal entry. And then you would think about why. What are some of the reasons why you've picked that one as your best? So as always, I'm kind of giving you a little list of what are some possible reasons, okay? I know this is a lot. I'm trying to give you enough examples because sometimes if I don't give examples, people are kind of like, I've never had to do this kind of writing before. And so I'm not sure how to do it. This is what we call sometimes metacognitive writing, whereas basically means like you're thinking about your own thinking. That's kind of hard, right? It's a little bit weird. It's like you're stepping back outside of yourself and spying on your own brain and how it's thinking. And in this case, you're also kind of looking at your own work, but almost as if you're the teacher and the work was done by somebody else and you're looking for, hey, what's good about this? What's improved? Which one is the best? All right. So in this one, you're kind of your own teacher writing your thoughts about this student who also happens to be yourself, but that's not the important part. All right. So here's some of your reasons. Sorry, going a little dry here. Could be you show that in that journal, you feel you showed an improved ability to review, assess, or write on your literacy skills. Maybe an improved understanding of certain literacy skills. Or an improved understanding of how the literacy skills help you in school, work, or your personal life. Maybe an improved understanding of the writing processes and how to use them effectively. Maybe an improved understanding and ability to explain the purpose, use, and understanding of a certain writing format. Maybe an improved understanding of reading strategies and how to use them effectively. Or an improved understanding of different reading formats and how using that organization and features can help improve your ability to read them. Maybe an improved ability to identify and apply your understanding of text topics like subject, audience, purpose, tone, level of language, and writing format. Now, improved ability to use pre-writing or brainstorming strategies. Not all the journals ask for it. I do suggest it sometimes, and we haven't always handed it in. If you're going to comment on that, you want to make sure that you do hand that in and that you've written it for me, okay? Improved ability and, oh, hang on a second, application of editing skills to produce polished copies. I'm sorry, there should be something about first draft in there. I've missed that one. So also if you've got the first draft, also if you've got editing skills, all the different stages, basically. I'm gonna actually kind of copy this over. I swear it looks like something accidentally got erased, which happens sometimes with Mr. Google here. Hang on a sec. Okay. Of revising skills. Okay. For revising skills, you're not trying to produce polished copies, but you are trying to produce improved copies. Okay. And we've talked before about all the different ways that you can improve an item. Hang on a second. Yep. Improved ability to create clear and correct sentences, improved ability to use a variety of sentence structures, improved level of vocabulary or word choices, improved ability to use writing techniques. This is very similar to the writing one because, I mean, journals are a very special type of writing. The one thing about journals is I'm really looking at ability to reflect on your own work, okay? That's the main goal of most journals, or your understanding, sometimes that. Okay, so it is the exact same, I've been using the same rubric all along, just so it's not, there we go, hang on, there we go. Hasn't really changed much. Yeah, there's only one journal item. So I'm not looking at a bunch of different ones. It's all based on this one. So this is one I might spend a little bit of extra time for just because it's worth like 20 marks. It's all based kind of only on one format. We just kind of read all of that. We're good. And then same thing. I did a sample outline, which journal is my best. I decided it was literacy skills in the workplace. I'm going to put the number here just in case. Right. And then I've got my reasons. I've got lots of work experience, so I have a lot of ideas on this topic. Reason number 2, I used more specific examples rather than being vague or general. Number 3, my overall writing skills have improved. And then I've got my details to support each reason. So for lots of experience, I said it's a longer journal because I had more to say. I understood the topic well, and I actively use these skills deliberately in my job. For reason number 2, being specific, I used, in my assignment, I specifically talked about using active listening skills to repeat back or summarize customer complaints. And I also talked about using good conversational skills at meetings, such as good volume, pace, and taking turns. And then for reason number 3, my overall writing skills have improved. I listed a bunch of different things that I thought I'd gotten better at: better paragraph structure, stronger vocabulary, more creative sentence writing, and variety. Okay. And so here is an example of what I've got. I'm running a little bit short on time. Hang on a sec. Okay. When I look over my journals, I see some definite growth. In some of the earlier journals, I wasn't quite sure what to say. Some of those journals were very short and kind of vague, like assignment number 5, where I was supposed to be talking about myself. I felt like I didn't have anything to say. I think my best journal was the assignment about literacy skills in the workplace. Having worked for 15 years, I understand how important communication skills can be. This journal included lots of specific examples about how I've used speaking and listening to help me get along with colleagues and customers. For example, I discussed how I used active listening skills to repeat back or summarize customer complaints. I also explained how I try to use good conversational skills at meetings, such as good volume, pace, and taking turns. Overall, I think my writing skills have improved in a lot of small ways that work together to create a much better journal. I did a good job following the paragraph structure, and I think my opening sentence is eye-catching. I used strong vocabulary, and I tried to write with more sentence variety. I think it sounds smooth and well thought out. The teacher must have thought so too, as this journal got my highest mark. I feel like this journal was where I really began to understand how to do this type of writing. Okay, so lastly, looking at the portfolio assignment. Although the portfolio assignment is technically the last thing before you do the culminating activity, the truth is there's no way to do assignment 43 or assignment 44 without kind of having it prepared. Like it might be in its rough format, but you still have to have things organized. So that's why I'm kind of talking about it now. I will talk about it a little bit tomorrow, okay? So here are all the sections you should have in your portfolio, okay? First of all, there should be a cover page. The cover page should include your name, the community, the course name, and the date. Number two, there should be reading logs. There should be at least 5 pages of reading logs. Then all the reading inventory pages that we just did, plus all those reading assignments, okay? So the inventory page and the assignments. Then the writing inventory pages plus all the assignments, okay? These need to be clearly labeled as a rough draft, a revised draft, or a final copy. If we did that, some assignments asked for a revised draft specifically, but not all of them did. But if I did, please have it and label it. If you did a lot of revised drafts, I know some of my students do, please just label it. A lot of people do, like revised draft number 1, revised draft number 2. It makes it so much easier for me to see how you progressed and changed your ideas. So it's a great way to improve your marks because the more information I have, the easier it is for me to understand what you did. Then the next section would be the journal inventory with all the listed journal assignments. And then the very last thing is going to be tomorrow's assignment, where we work on the opinion essay or the series of paragraphs that's based basically on all the stuff that we did today. Okay, so you do want to make sure you get that stuff done in order to do the paragraphs, okay? But that's how the ultimate portfolio should look. We will talk a little bit more about this tomorrow. Oh, the portfolio marking scheme. I'm going to be giving you 5 marks for each of the completed 6 sections. So 30 marks altogether for having all these different 6 parts, okay? The overall organization and neatness of the portfolio is going to be 10 marks. The portfolio can be organized and handed in as a digital file or as a physical collection in a duotang or a binder. Now, if you're handing it as a digital file, it needs to be one file that you've organized, not you send me back all 43 files and I'm supposed to organize it. Because the whole point is I'm trying to show that you know how to organize it, okay? So that's what you need to work on. The assignments in the portfolio will not be marked. This has been some confusion for some people. Any assignments that you want me to mark, you have to hand in before the portfolio is submitted. I'm not going to remark all 43 assignments when you hand them in just because you made some improvements. That would take me an incredibly long time, okay? Now, this portfolio is worth 10% of your final grade, which means doing it has a big influence on your overall grade. By the same token, skipping it, like not doing it, usually results in you losing an entire grade. Not because I'm being punitive, like I don't take away marks, it's just you're losing out on these marks. And really all it is you're kind of organizing your work and then rehanding it in. So it's not actually that much work, just the organizing that's the work, right? Really. A lot of people hand them in to me in duotangs. Like I said, sometimes people have handed them in to me as a binder. The other thing, if you're up north, sometimes people have sent this to me in the mail. I only would be a tiny bit nervous in case it was your only copy. If I was going to do that, I would make sure that I copied everything because it'd be super sad if it got lost in the mail and you didn't have copies of it. Okay, does that make sense? All right, tomorrow is our very last course for this, class for this course. And we'll be talking about the portfolio a little tiny bit more in the very last essay, and then the culminating activity, because we don't have an exam here, we just have kind of one final assignment that you do on your own, and that part's worth 20% of the marks. All right, if you have any questions, give me a phone call. I'm here until 4:30. I'd be happy to talk to you.